Thank you.
All right. Mr. Rutherford,
Here.
Mr. Herring,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
I'm here.
and Ms. Wilkinson.
I'm here.
Very good.
That's it.
Great.
That's it for the executive committee. Yep.
We are all here.
Wonderful.
And now, Sandy, can you read the notice of electronic meeting, please?
Yes, this meeting of the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission is being held pursuant to Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3708.2, which allows a public body to hold electronic meetings when the locality in which it is located has declared a local state of emergency, and the catastrophic nature of the emergency makes it impracticable or unsafe to assemble a quorum in a single location. And the purpose of the meeting is to provide for the discharge of its lawful purposes, duties, and responsibility. This meeting is being held via electronic video and audio means through Zoom online meetings and is accessible to the public with closed captioning, and there will be an opportunity for public comment during that portion of the agenda. Notice has been provided to the public through notice at the TJPD offices, to the media, website posting, and agenda. The meeting minutes will reflect the nature of the emergency, that the meeting was held by electronic communication means, and the type of electronic communication means by which the meeting was held. A recording of the meeting will be posted at tjpdc.org within 10 days of the meeting.
Thank you so much. All right,
All right,
Christine.
so, all right, I'm going to jump right in. First, I want to thank the Executive Finance Committee for being here tonight. I know in years past, we were able to do this in advance of an in-person meeting and have dinner together, and I hope that we can get back to that very soon. But I'd like to welcome David Foley, who is a CPA with Robinson Farmer Cox that you all know, and Don Reed, our Director of Finance. In the report that I sent along to you all, there was about just over a 5-page manager's report that has details of changes from FY20 to FY21, as well as differences between budgets and actuals. But really, the star of the show tonight is going to be David Foley, who is I'm going to turn it over to him so he can walk through the report, and then we can end with a discussion or any questions you have. And I want to make sure to leave a little bit of time at the end for a sincere bout of gratitude for Don for his work on yet another round of successful audit. So David, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you. Good to be with you all here this evening. So we have completed the audit for the Commission's FY fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021, and we have issued our draft audit report, and would like to go through that with you all. Kind of before I get into the report, though, just brief overview of the audit that we do for the Commission. Really, there's 3 main pieces to the audit that we do. One is, of course, we audit the financial statements to make sure that the Commission's financial statements are prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And then, in addition to just auditing the financial statements themselves, as part of the audit, we look at and review the internal controls the Commission has over its financial reporting. So, we'll look at what controls are in place, and in certain areas, we'll test those controls to see that they're operating as they were designed to be. And then the third piece of the audit is the federal compliance piece. So for the major federal grant programs that the Commission has, OMB provides a compliance supplement that provides a whole list of compliance requirements that the Commission has to comply with when it's carrying out and expending its federal grant programs. So as part of the audit, we go through that and make sure that the Commission is in compliance with those requirements. So those are kind of the 3 main pieces of the audit that we do for the Commission. So as such, we'll see when we go through the audit report, there's actually 3 different reports from us that communicate the results of that to you all. And if I should be able to share my screen. Okay. Everybody see the report? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll start first in the report. I'll go over the three opinions that go over the results of the audit. The first starts on PDF page 5 of the report, and this is our independent auditors report. And in this report is where we state we did perform an audit of the commission's financial statements. This report talks about management's responsibility for the financial statements, which management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements. This report talks about our responsibilities as auditors, which we are to an express opinion on the commission's financial statements. Also states that we did perform our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards. And then at the top of page 2 is the opinion that we have issued on the commission's financial statements, which we have issued an unmodified opinion on the commission's financial statements, which the unmodified opinion is the cleanest opinion an auditor can give on the set of financial statements. Basically, an unmodified opinion means that the commission's financial statements have been prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. So a clean opinion over the financial statements. The other two reports from us are in the back of the report. And if we go to PDF page 66, this is back in the compliance section. So our report back here, this is our report over the commission's internal controls over financial reporting. This report was clean as well. We noted no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in the commission's internal controls over financial reporting. We feel like the commission has strong controls over its financial reporting. Just a couple of examples of that. One is, as part of the audit, it's typical when we go through an audit that we'll find items in the financials that need adjusting to where so that the financials are prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And as in prior years with the audit, this audit, again, we had no audit adjustments were required part of the audit. So, and the fact that the commission's financials are adjusted and reported as they should be prior to the audit, again, I think shows the strength of the finance team and the controls that it has in place. If you didn't have the proper controls in place, that could lead to misstatements in the financial statements. The other kind of example about the internal control over financial reporting and just speak to the strength of the commission's finance. These financial statements, when we come on site, the commission has these financial statements prepared for us even when we come on site, which is not that's not very common, particularly in the audits that we work on. So typically, we'll come in, the clients will have their books and maybe have their books adjusted, or we may have some adjustments, but then we kind of assist with preparing the financial statements based on their adjusted trial balances, where the commission actually prepares these financial statements. So again, I think that speaks to the strength of the finance team. And so that, again, a clean report over internal controls. And the third report from us is on PDF page 68. This is our report over the commission's compliance with its major federal grant programs. This report was clean as well. No significant deficiencies or material weaknesses were noted in the commission's compliance with its federal grant programs. Also, no items of non-compliance were noted as part of the audit. So again, all three reports from us that are included in the audited financial statements were clean. Also, in addition to the three clean reports, we also noted no other items related to internal control or other matters that needed to be reported in a separate management letter. So again, a very clean audit for the commission this year. So those are the three reports from us. Next, I'll start with the financial statements themselves. So if we go back to PDF page 15, this is where the financial statements start. So these first two financial statements that are included in the audit report, these statements are on what is called the full accrual basis. So these statements include capital assets, all the pension and OPEB information, any debt, that's all included in these numbers. So the first financial statement is a statement of net position, Exhibit 1. And so this statement reports assets, deferred outflows, liabilities, deferred inflows, and net position. And this is at the end of the fiscal year as of June 30th, 2021. You see total current assets for the commission were 1.2 million. And we had non-current assets of 307,000, which includes a net pension asset, as well as the capital assets, equipment, vehicles and such. So total assets of 1.5 million. And we have some deferred outflows related to pension and OPEB, 79,000. Current liabilities for the commission, 420,000 in current liabilities for the commission. And then have to report the liability for the group life, which is related to VRS. Also, compensated absences are included. And then some deferred inflows of 29,000. And then down at the bottom is the net position at the end of the fiscal year for the commission, a total of 1.1 million. And that's further broken down between what was invested in capital assets, restricted, which is the net pension asset, and then unrestricted of 832,000. And again, these are the full accrual statements. The next financial statement is a statement of activities. Again, this is full accrual. So these expenses include depreciation expense, as well as the effect of the net pension asset, and also the OPEB liability related to group life. So it shows the expenses and lists that by program, a little over 4 million, and then shows the operating grants and contributions. And then the report further down shows some additional, sorry, the screen's in the way. We've got general revenue 365,000. And so the during the fiscal year, the commission's net position increased by $116,000 during the fiscal year. So positive increase for the commission this year. So the next exhibits, these start the fund statements. And so the fund statements are on the modified accrual basis. These are much more in line with the way you budget. So the first statement here, Exhibit 3, is the balance sheet. And so this shows assets, liabilities, and fund balance for the commission. And then you have columns for the various funds, So at the end of the fiscal year, the commission had total assets of 1.4 million, liabilities, total liabilities of 604,000, and then down at the bottom, fund balance for the commission. At the end of the fiscal year, the commission ended with a fund balance of 869, a little over 869,000. And then that again is broken down. That fund balance is broken down in between non-spendable, which is your prepaid items, and then committed amount that the commission's put in for its capital reserve, and then the unassigned fund balance of 525,000. This next exhibit is just a reconciliation exhibit. This just shows how you get from the fund balance we just talked about to the net position that we discussed earlier. And so then Exhibit 5, this is a statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. So this shows total revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance during the year. Again, the columns for the various funds. If we go, exhibit goes over 2 pages. So if we go down to the next page, we can see total revenues during the fiscal year, 4.1 million. Again, we can see a lot of that. The commission received a lot of revenue, a lot of federal revenue related to the CARES Act. So that was a big change, big increase in revenue this year. You can see 2.1 million related to that. But again, total 4.1 million compared, and then total expenditures, a little over 4 million in total expenditures. And then again, we see a positive change in fund balance. So an increase in the commission's fund balance during the fiscal year of almost 126,000. So again, nice increase to the fund balance. Exhibit 6, again, this is just another reconciliation exhibit between the two different bases. Shows you how we get from the change in fund balance for the governmental funds of 125,000 to what the change in net position was on the full accrual statements. So the next part of the report is the notes to the financial statements. The notes to the financial statements, they disclose the significant accounting policies that the commission uses to prepare its financial statements. It also, provides some more detail behind some of the numbers in the financial statements. Really, the notes, no significant changes this year compared to the prior years. And as far as the notes to the financial statements go, just highlight one item in the notes on PDF page 42. There's a note about the cost, the indirect cost rate that the commission has. So during the year, for billing purposes, the commission used 62% was the indirect cost rate. And then the actual indirect cost during indirect cost rate for the commission during 2021 is 55%. Again, a drop in the indirect cost rate again this year. All right, then the next part is anything you want to know about group life insurance or ERS pension. There's about 20 pages worth of disclosures in here for you. It's really good reading. I highly recommend it. But I won't clog up the meeting too much with that. So after the notes, we get into the next exhibit is a budget to actual for the commission. So again, we've got columns for the original budget, the final budget, and then actual numbers. So we can see for total revenues, budgeted revenues, 4.3 million. Actual came in at 4.1. You can see the variance there as well. Same thing for expenditures, budget expenditures of 4.2, but the expenditures came in under budget of little over 4 million. So expenditures under budget by about 229,000. The next schedule, the next few exhibits in the report is if you didn't get enough reading on the pension and OPEB life liability in the notes, if those 20 pages didn't give you all the information you wanted to, we have about 6 more exhibits that go over some information related to the pension and OPEB. So again, I'll skip over those. And next. All right. So the next, we get to the supporting schedules. So Schedule 1, this is just the schedule of expenditures for the general fund. So this just shows the breakdown of the expenditures that were reported in the general fund back on Exhibit 5. The Schedule 2, the next 2 schedules are related to how the indirect cost rate is calculated. So Schedule 2 is the schedule of indirect costs. This is a numerator to that. So again, this shows what indirect costs were incurred during the year. So again, 417,000 during the fiscal year. So that's the numerator portion of the indirect cost rate. And then Schedule 3 is the schedule of program personnel cost. This is the denominator. So this just shows the salaries and benefits what related to the program cost. So 754,000. And kind of down at the bottom, we kind of show how that indirect cost is calculated. You take the indirect cost divided by the program personnel cost, which is the driver, and then that's how we get to the 55% indirect cost rate. All right. The next schedule, Schedule 4, this is the schedule that was put into the report a few years ago, or more than a few years ago now, at the request of the commission. Again, this just shows various grants that the commission has, as well as the status of those grants. And then we get to the compliance section, which that had the 2 reports from us, and then I'll go down to the this is the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. This schedule shows all the federal grants that the commission had and that it expended during the fiscal year. So again, we'll see the commission received, again, this shows the money that the commission received related to the CARES Act, 2.1 million in total related to the CARES Act was spent. This is what was spent during the fiscal year. In grand total, the federal awards that were spent, 3.3 million. And then the last page of the report, this is a schedule of findings and collection costs. This page basically summarizes the report. Again, the type of auditor's report, unmodified, no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies over financial reporting, federal awards, no findings, no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. This shows the federal program that was audited as a major program, the CARES Act. And then also, again, stating that there were no financial statement findings to report, and that there were no federal award findings for question calls to report. So again, just a summary of the audit document. But that's a brief overview of the report. But happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Andrea.
Are you asking if I have a question?
We usually look to you for all leadership accounting.
I had only one question, and it really related to just a little additional information. And it was really in the managerial letter from Christine. So maybe we'll let her get to it. Is that a good idea, Christine?
Yeah, I can answer. I know what your question is, and I can answer it. I'm not necessarily going to go through the five-page managerial report, but in the managerial report, if you look at page 4 of 5, I can, David, you can probably scroll to that faster than I can pull it up. But there's a budget to actuals table, and it shows that our operating expenses increased by 130% and that our pass-through expenses decreased. And the reason for that is the Nelson Cares federal money. We had it budgeted as pass-through, but it is not considered pass-through, it's considered contractual. And so it showed our pass-through higher than it was. So David's getting to it right now. And then Don or David, if you want to add anything to that, I welcome your input, but that's the difference right there. Is it was taken out of, we had it budgeted as pass-through, it was taken out of pass-through and put into operating.
I asked that question because it wasn't really apparent on the face of it why the operating expenses were higher than the budget. And so this explanation, I certainly thought it was something like that. And it answers my question. I don't know if anybody else would have had the question, but there was a very nice explanation as to why payroll administrative expenses were down. So right after we discuss about how those expenses were down, we see the operating expenses are 130% higher than budget. And it certainly raised a question, but I was quite certain it was about the budget, about what was included in the budget.
Thanks for asking that, Andrea. You helped me learn something new yesterday.
I aim to please.
Anyone else have any other questions for David or Don at this time? Keith? Nope.
Oh, sir, I'm good. I'm still wondering about the beard, but I'll have to get past that.
Yeah.
I know.
I call it's my COVID beard. I had to quarantine for 2 weeks, so this kind of came out of it.
I feel that. Yeah, I guess this is my first presentation of yours. I'm waiting for the other 5 I'll get in the next 3 months. Great. Other than that, Mr. Herring, do you have anything else?
No, sir. It sounded pretty good. This side.
Gotcha. Great. Staff, Don, Christine, any of y'all need to say anything?
I don't. The only thing I want to make sure that I say is, first of all, a thank you to David Foley and your team for your work on this. We always appreciate you very much during a really busy time for you all. So we definitely appreciate your work. And then even particularly for you, Don, your tremendous efforts and the tremendous job that you do, yet again, another year coming through with another unmodified, especially with all of the changes that we've had in the past fiscal year, leadership, staffing, standing up new large federal programs. I just want to make sure you hear from me and from this executive team a sincere thank you for all of your work and the preparation that you do to get us through a very clean and simple audit. So thank you.
So can we all do a hip hip hooray, or should we wait until the actual
Has
meeting?
Don ever seen he wouldn't have seen any other reactions. So I can throw out like celebrations and claps.
Look, that's you, Don.
There you go.
I think the appropriate thing is should have gave Don your drink ticket. That was.
Oh.
Right. Yeah.
On the it kind of gives new meaning to pass through. I pass this through to our auditor, so.
There you go.
There you go.
Don, is there anything that you would like to say? Nope. All right, I guess with that, going back to the agenda, what we would like from you all is staff would recommend that the Executive Finance Committee recommend approval of the FY21 financial report and audit to the full commission, and we'll bring it to the full commission for their approval if you would make that motion.
Excellent. Dale, Keith, or Andrea, we need a motion.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Herring, needs a second.
And I would second that.
Second from Andrea. Let's do a, without objection, this will pass. Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes.
Very good. And then the last step would move to adjourn, just so that you all know the Zoom link for the full commission meeting is this same link. So you can either leave the meeting and come back on, or you can mute, turn off camera, do what you like until the 7 o'clock meeting. I will turn off the recording in the mid time. But that should conclude our meeting once we adjourn.
Great. Motion to adjourn. Anybody? Keith?
So moved.
Second from Keith. Without objection, is there any objections to adjourning? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you, David. Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
See you in a
I guess
little
we'll see you in a few minutes.
27
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.